And we are officially in September, man. Long weekend, Labor Day weekend. I'm sure everybody's figure a lot of people go do the barbecues and everything today because like Monday's usually that day you want to just chill. And not I mean, again, everybody's different, but we are in September and now we are officially heading into uh, Canelo month. Really that's really what September has become for the most part. That will be taking place September 14th, a couple of weeks from now, literally to the to the date. Uh, and we'll be seeing Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga. And from what I gathered, this is going to be Canelo's contractual obligation or final obligation to the PBC. There's been no word about a re-up. I'm willing to bet there's not going to be a re-up, but I guess we'll see. I mean, I don't always leave the door open for you know as long as the money is right. That's why it says as long as the money's right. But not only is Canelo Alvarez fighting Edgar Berlanga September 14th, but he's actually got another opponent who he has faced before, so to speak, and that is the UFC, as there is a major, well, I guess subjected to major UFC, but there is a UFC that same night, literally across the street. But there's a caveat with that UFC. It is going to be the first UFC at the Sphere, and when you're looking at when I check the ticket prices for that event, I mean it's not a cheap ticket at all. Neither is Canelo's fight with Edgar Berlanga, guys. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but the cheapest ticket for Canelo Berlanga is like $500 some dollars, okay, in the nosebleeds. With the UFC, again, much more limited seating, and they're charging around like the cheapest tickets around like $1,000, right? So both events aren't like a cheap ticket, at all. But then it really comes down to who are you targeting for those prices, and which event is probably going to have more eyeballs on it, right? I think it's like in most cases, right? The UFC and boxing don't ever, like, in most cases, for big fights, they don't butt heads a lot. Why is that? Because trust and believe, man, Dana White knows that there's a good chunk of his fan base who are also boxing fans. And as a business, you never want to shy away from people tuning into your product. Now look, there are times where the scheduling is as such. You just have an event that's going along with another event. So in this case, they have Canelo Alvarez again across the street, and like Dana White was kind of bitching and complaining that event was going on at the same time as his. But see, my thing with that is like, you should know by this point that Canelo, outside at least one time that I can recall, funny enough, was the fight that with Kovalev, and then they had to kind of wait for the UFC to wrap up so they can. I'm wondering if that's going to happen this time around. But Dana White was bitching and complaining because his whole thing is, and I have a feeling it's because the ticket prices for that event are so expensive that like he's had to cut down the price, because there is you got to give Canelo that kind of respect. My thing though collectively is, I think for both participants in this, like, you kind of, anytime you have another competitor at the same time as what you got going on, you're still proverbially shooting yourself in the foot. Because I'll tell you this, okay? If Canelo were fighting David Benavidez or Terrence Crawford or something like that, I have no doubt Dana White would have tried to figure out how to, like, he's not stupid. He's not, like, he knows like that would be a tough ticket to compete against. But in this situation, and I guess we'll see how it ends up turning out, but the thing with the Canelo Berlanga fight is, like, commercially, there's not, And if you guys go on to go buy tickets right now, there's a lot of tickets available, guys. I know the brokers buy them all like at the 11th hour, but for the most part, I don't think this is gonna be like a monster home run event for Canelo, and let alone the pay-per-view is like $90. With the UFC, the people are gonna tune into it. They're gonna buy the pay-per-view. The question is like, what's the crowd gonna look like now? Then the question does come, if you're a high roller, right? And this is who these people really bank on. The promoters. They don't bank on us. Like, we're gonna buy the $500 tickets and just to be happy to get in there. They are looking for the people who are going to feel the where the camera is gonna be at, right? They don't need people up there. They need people like around the ring. So that all being said, it really comes down to like who's paying the top dollar for what event. Canelo Berlanga or having a UFC in the Sphere, which has been this like big thing now in Las Vegas. I'd actually like to see it. But they're an expensive ticket because the seating is not like crazy. There's not a lot of seats in there. The T-Mobile Arena seats 18,000. The Sphere doesn't, I don't even think it seats like a quarter of that. So again, to the same point. But you have two events going on the same night, and they're both not a cheap ticket. And like, what's the decision maker? Like, do you want to be a part of an event, or do you want to like? I can't, man. We got choices these days. But look, man, I'm not, and trust me when I say this, man. Like, I'm not saying this to like shit on Canelo or the UFC or whatever. I just think this is a situation where the scheduling was what it was, and they're both charging a lot of money. And truth be told, man, I think both events might take a hit. I'm just wondering what's gonna have the bigger reception. We'll see. Here. Fun fact for you guys: I'm gonna watch them both. So to me, it doesn't matter. I'm just looking at it from the end of like, what's Canelo Berlanga gonna look like in the arena? Because again, from what I've gathered, the tickets they're not selling like crazy, man. I checked literally like before I got on this video just to confirm, but they're not selling like crazy. But of course, like, it's not a premier fight. It's Canelo Alvarez. But it's not Canelo Alvarez versus, oh, damn, I want to see that. That plays a big part, guys. Like, I don't care how big of a star you are. Like, even when Floyd and Manny got to a point where they weren't fighting guys that were in demand, guess what happened? Like, their sales started going down. So that's always been the case. So I think with Canelo, it's really, everybody's like, they're like fine with this fight. But I think the big question is like, what's May going to look like? Like, is he going to get in some kind of premier fight? I mean, now, like, I'm hearing the whole Bivol, he wants to fight the winner, Bivol Beterbiev. Call me whenever he decides to do that, or when that officially happens, because I do not believe that's the case, okay? And it like his recent choice of opposition doesn't scream him going back to 175 to slay one of those dudes, I don't think so. We'll see what happens, but I'm leaving May open for a big fight that Canelo would on paper be the favorite in, and I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, but that's pretty much it, man. Canelo and then UFC battling out September 14th. The UFC's at the Sphere. I'm interested to see how that's gonna look, though. Like, I'm gonna watch it, but I'm interested to see how it's gonna look. And then with Canelo Berlanga, man, let's just see what the crowd looks like. I mean, Canelo's fans are going to be there. I'm just thinking about it from, how many people are really buying tickets to go to that fight. Even though you got Caleb Plant on the undercard and Rolly Romero, but not fighting anybody, So, but that's pretty much it, man. Enjoy you guys' weekend. Beyond that, October's coming. A fight that nobody's even like really mentioning, man, is the Daniel Dubois Anthony Joshua fight. That fight could end up being here's a crazy thing. That fight is really, you could argue that's a major crossroads fight for Daniel Dubois in a win, yo. Like I don't want to see Usyk and well, if Anthony Joshua wins and Tyson Fury beats Usyk, I guess they'd have to run it back one more time. But that's the only way I would want to see Joshua in again, like to fight for a world title. But if Usyk beats if Usyk beats Fury again, I don't need to see a third Usyk and Joshua fight. So I guess, and look, I'm gonna tell y'all this, man. If Usyk beats Fury, which I'm picking him to beat him the second time, he could flat out retire, man. Like, people got to remember, he's 36 years old, like 36 and 37. What else can he do? It's like with Canelo, man. Like, if Canelo, after September, or maybe had a fight in May, and that was like the capper, if he retired, I would not be shocked, man. He's got nothing else to prove. Outside of just making money, but, like, he's got nothing else to prove. So, the fall fall is really here. This is really like the beginning of the fall, is like after Labor Day. And like I had mentioned yesterday, I guess we're gonna see what's up with Fundora Spence, if that's gonna happen, because the WBO's already ordered Crawford and Fundora to negotiate. But I'm telling you, nothing is going to happen until after September 14th. I'm telling y'all that, man. And then after that, we find out who if Tank is gonna fight Rayo. I'm telling y'all, I feel that's going to be the fight, and Tank's gonna go and fight for a third official division world title. That's just the easiest option for him to take. And then come December again, we got Fury Usyk 2, and we'll wrap up the year from there, man. But other than that, enjoy you guys this weekend. Go barbecue, and we'll be getting ready for September 14th. So let me know, like, subscribe, all that. I'm out. Peace.